long as there's been ships, there's been pirates trying to take control of those ships. And it's no different today. Nowadays, when a modern ship enters pirated water, they'll bring aboard maritime security to help protect the ship. So let's take a closer look at the maritime security contractor. I'm currently working on a US flagged car carrier, and our ship is about to enter a high-risk area for piracy. Now, there are many high-risk areas across the globe, especially for piracy. You have the Gulf of Guinea, the Strait of Malacca, but the area we'll be worried about is the Gulf of Aden, off the coast of Somalia. 2011 was the peak of piracy in this area. Pirates would board ships, kidnap the crew, and demand a ransom from the companies. So to combat the pirates, companies started hiring private security to protect the ship and its crew. And it worked. Pirate activity in this region dramatically declined since bringing on maritime security. But that didn't mean it didn't still exist. Meet Luke McLeod. Luke's been working in maritime security since 2013. And he's agreed to sit down with us and tell us what it's like working as a maritime security contractor and the type of things they do to keep these modern cargo ships safe.
I'm Luke. I work in maritime security industry. So I work for a maritime security company as a subcontractor. So we're classed as privately contracted armed security personnel. And we work on all different types of ships. Tankers, bulk carriers, various types of cargo ship. Occasionally something else like a super yacht if we're lucky, and we work again all over the place really, but primarily the Red Sea, Gulf of Aden, around the Indian Ocean as well. I got into this job prior to starting this. I was in the Royal Navy. I served in the Royal Navy, so I had the military background and also the background of being at sea as well. Yeah, so the ships we work on, they're commercial vessels. It's not limited to one country or anything like that. Various different flag states, various different ownerships, and all different nationalities of crew as well. Our role on board is to ensure a safe passage for the vessel and for the crew. So what that means is we're armed, we're on board the ship. We're armed with semi-automatic weapons and plenty of ammunition as well. So in the event any hostile targets wanted to either board the vessel or in any way harm the vessel, that is when we will be called upon to repel the targets, repel the attack.
Usually the ship will pick up the security team a couple days before entering the high-risk area. This way, the security team will have enough time to get the ship and the crew ready.
When we first embark, the first day is usually pretty busy because we'll meet the captain and we'll meet the crew. One of the first things we'll do after we've met the captain is we'll go around the ship, usually with the chief officer or whoever the designated person is on board, the ship security officer. We'll go around, we'll have a look at the ship's defences.
What's the old saying? The best offense is a good defense. Essentially, the security team want to turn the ship into a floating fortress.
Most ships are operating in these areas regularly. They kind of know the score anyway, and they have the protective measures in place. But if not, we'll make the recommendations, and some of those would include basically razor wire around the vessel freeboard, coils of razor wire to obviously slow down and delay any attempt to board the vessel. Also, it acts as a visual deterrent as well. If they see razor wire on the vessel on freeboard, they know that the ship is switched on to the threat, and they are prepared for an attack. We'll sometimes rig hoses out on a deck as well. They can be operated from the bridge. They can create basically like a shower curtain down the port and starboard sides, which again acts as an obstacle to any boarding attempt. And again, it's a visual deterrent also. They can see that if they see we've turned the hoses on, they know that we're aware of their presence. Some crews are very experienced in these areas, and they know the score, they know what to do, and they know what to expect. They've worked with security teams many times before, but in some cases it's possible that they're in this area for the first time, and it's the first time they've had a security team on board. So we'll just brief the crew, tell them what to expect from us, what we expect from them.
The security team remind the crew that ship security is everybody's job, and we can all do our part in keeping the ship safe.
It's a working ship, so they're going to be out on deck more often than not working. That's fine, but we always say as well, once everybody's inside the ship and everybody's accounted for inside, whichever access door they've used to go out on deck, they then secure that one as well. Once everybody's inside, then basically the ship should be secure. And again, at night time, we try and minimise the light that's escaping to the vessel. Too much light can make the vessel an easy target, so we just ask the crew that during the nighttime hours, they ensure when lights are on in cabins that they have the blinds down and curtains pulled across. We'll usually do a drill, just make sure everybody knows where to go in a piracy incident, make sure everybody knows where the citadel is and the procedure for the citadel.
In a nutshell, the citadel is the safe house of the ship. It's somewhere that the crew can go hide, usually deep in the engine room, and we have it stocked with supplies so we can wait out any attack. If you're enjoying the video and you'd like to support the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Once the crew's all briefed and the ship's all ready, the security team kind of falls into a seagoing routine.
Generally speaking, when we're at sea, we keep watches, bridge watches, so we will help out with the officer of the watch and the lookout on the bridge. And we'll be keeping lookout at sea for anything unusual, anything suspicious, and that's our role. We primarily keep bridge watches.
Standing a bridge watch in pirated waters, there's a certain level of tension in the air. You can feel it. Pretty much everybody's on edge. This is when shit starts to get a little sketchy. Passing the anchorage, and there's a bunch of small little boats zipping around us, following us. It's definitely nerve-wracking. This guy's running right along with us right now. He's seriously like a mile away from us.
The vast majority of the time, any small boats we see are fishing boats, or in some cases they might be smuggling small cargo, which again we'll just watch them until they pass by. If it makes an approach, if it changes course, towards us, if it increases its speed, these are things we're looking out for. So any small boats, if they suddenly ratchet up their speed and they're coming in our general direction at 20-25 knots or even faster, that is for sure going to get our attention. But basically, once it's coming towards us at speed, we will take preventative measures. We can call them on the radio, ask them their intentions, let them know, small boat approaching us on our port side, what are your intentions? We have armed security personnel on board, shift your course immediately. Okay, so that's an initial warning. If they continue to approach, ship's horn as well. So we go through that escalation process and give them the opportunity to alter their course and go on their way. We do that. We're not just going to get the weapons out straight away and start firing shots at a fishing boat.
Chances are the boat just got a little too close and was acting a little too aggressive, and they never meant any harm. However, that's not always the case.
So yeah, if small boats are continuing a hostile approach and they've ignored all the previous warnings that we've given them, we will then consider that a sign of hostile intent. And obviously if we see weapons on board or anything like that, again, that's a pretty good indication that they have bad intentions.
Once it's established as a hostile target approaching the vessel, the ship will sound its alarm and the majority of the crew will then move to the citadel.
We're on a bridge at this point with our body armour and helmets on. We'll display the weapons as well to let them see visually we are armed. It doesn't matter what language they speak, if they see us with weapons, it's pretty clear what we're trying to say. Depending on the situation, how it works, ideally we would fire maybe 2 or 3 sets of warning shots. We want to give them every opportunity to turn around before we have to take the last resort. Obviously the last resort, if everything else has failed, is lethal force, but as in any other job where you're armed, lethal force is always the last resort. The captain is the captain, obviously, so he retains command of the ship at all times. We are working under the captain. However, we do have the inherent right of self-defense. So in a situation where we think our life is in immediate danger, we do not have to wait for captain's permission. Obviously we will do what we need to do. We can fire shots at any time and take the necessary action to protect our lives or the lives of anybody else on board the ship. And then in the event that we were heavily outgunned or heavily outnumbered and we couldn't repel the attack, ourselves and the bridge team, we would move down and join the rest of the crew in the citadel. The citadel should be fully secure, so once everybody's inside, all the doors should be secure from the inside, all access points, hatches, etc. should be secured, and there should be communications within the citadel as well, so we can establish and maintain communications with any outside parties, coalition warships, etc. And also enough food and water for everybody for potentially up to 3 days as well.
Most of the time from the citadel, we can control the ship. So turn everything off, sit there, and wait for the cavalry to arrive. But thankfully, nowadays, pirate attacks are few and far between.
Piracy dropped down dramatically over the years. Peak was 2011. After that, the number of attacks and boardings that were reported went down considerably due to the military presence obviously played a big part. There are various task forces made up of European and American nations and, well, multinational task forces. But also, I would say armed security as well. That basically deterred the pirates. They knew they couldn't board ships when armed security personnel were on board. So for a lot of years, piracy has been pretty quiet as a result of that. So the threat of piracy has gone down, but in other ways, the threat still remains from other areas as well. There's other maritime threats beside piracy, especially at the moment, the threat of, well, acts of terrorism at sea, basically. So you've got the Houthi rebels operating from Yemen. Okay, they're funded by Iran, and that has been a major issue over the last year now. Basically, there were attacks prior to the last year, but it's obviously picked up due to various political situations that are ongoing. So now the threat we face, whereas before it was a few pirates in some small boats with some rusty AK-47s and maybe an RPG launcher, we now have to also be aware of the possibility of drones being targeting vessels, waterborne IEDs in unmanned surface boats, operated remote control, okay, which can be steered into the side of a ship to cause an explosion and cause damage. And also there is the threat of missiles as well.
Somali piracy started due to the collapse of the Somali government in the early 90s, which led to overfishing and dumping of toxic waste, and it threatened their way of life, which in turn turned them to piracy. There's no hiding it. Geopolitics play a huge role in the maritime industry. And now, with the war in the Middle East, the maritime industry faces an even greater threat. The conflict in the Middle East is getting so bad that companies are choosing not to go through the Red Sea. The current voyage I'm on, instead of us going through the Mediterranean and the Suez and the Red Sea, we chose to go around Africa, adding 3 weeks to our voyage, which affects the time, the fuel, money. There's no hiding that it's a direct disruption to the industry. But it's nice to know that there's maritime security like Luke working side by side with the crew to keep these ships safe and the cargo moving.
I'll just say one thing as well. The TASH is for November. So the TASH is for November. That's why we're doing it. It's not just me, it's the rest of the team as well. So obviously everybody knows how brutal the internet is. I don't want, after you've gone to all the effort of making this video, all the comments are just going to be, what the fuck is that above his lip? So yeah, I just want to clear that up.
It's a nice mustache.
Yeah, thank you. Alright then, yeah, cheers Joe, I'll sign off. Just if anyone does have any questions, my Instagram is Luke_W_MacLeod, and that's MacLeod, MacLeod. It's just there's nothing too much of interest, just mostly my ugly mug. But there are a few pictures of ships I've worked on as well, so maybe of some interest. And if you have any questions or anything, you can fire me a questions as well.
And a big thank you to Luke for sitting down with us and telling us what it's like being a maritime security contractor. If you enjoyed the video and you'd like to support the channel, please consider liking, subscribing, or sharing the video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.